Here we are with my old friend, colleague, and Hall of Famer Steve Flink, and at the US Open. Thanks, Steve, for being here with me. And we are going to talk about the two favorites of this tournament.
Okay.
Yannick Sinner and Carlitos Alcaraz. Are we going to watch the third final in a row in a slam?
That's going to depend on how much Alcaraz's hair grows out between now and the end of the tournament. No, seriously, Ubaldo, I think there's a very good chance we do get their third in a row. Very good chance. You look at the draws, you look at their dominance this year in the three previous majors. Sinner seems fine now after getting sick in Cincinnati, and he had a good opening round match today. Alcaraz had a nice start last night against Opelka, so I would say if I had to bet today, if you asked me today, yes, they get to the final.
Well, if they would get to the final, it would be the first time ever in the Open tennis.
Yeah.
Because the only two who played three finals in a row were Stolly and Emerson in '64. Then there were 13 situations, or 12, 13 situations, when there were two finals played by the same players in a slam.
Right.
But it's quite astonishing. You know,
yeah, I mean, we had that great period with Nadal and Federer 3 years in a row in the finals of the French and then Wimbledon, but then they never played here. It never happened here. That was the difference, because Rafa, until he won it in 2010, was never that comfortable on the hard courts here, and then it all changed, and he eventually won the tournament 4 times. So that was a possibility, but it never came to be.
Yeah, and then 12 times the same players played 2 slams.
Right.
In 1 year, but never 3.
Right, exactly.
And that is.
But we thought. What I'm saying is, I think that we were hopeful that would happen with Rafa and Roger, and it didn't. But I think you look. I think we do know that if you say what is Carlos's best surface, the debate seems to be between clay and grass, maybe hard court's third. But it's not as if he won his first major here at the U.S. Open 3 years ago on these courts. So he can play great on hard courts, and we know it's Sinner's favorite surface, definitely.
Yes, I would say that for Sinner would even be better if they would play indoor. But I mean, indoor hard court. That is probably outdoor. Sometimes the wind may influence the game.
But Carlos can struggle in the wind too. All I'm saying is, do you agree? By the way, do you see it the way I do?
Yeah. I see it. I remember and remind our spectators that when Alcaraz won this tournament in 2022, in the quarters of finals, he had to save a match point versus Sinner.
Think about that. So and then of course we know what happened to Roland Garros this year. So he's had it happen twice.
Yeah.
But yes, that was only a quarterfinal. But who's to say that? We'll never know. Maybe Sinner would have won that tournament in 2022 if he'd beaten Alcaraz. But that was the key match. Alcaraz had these 3 5-setters, but the Sinner one was the scariest match he had in that tournament.
Yeah, sure. Now, this year, who do you think has the worst draw between the two? Because Sinner, who won quite easily the first round, they lost just how many?
Four games. Yeah,
against the Czech Kopchiva. We have to pronounce it Kopchiva, I was told by the Czech colleagues. He has to play now Alexei Popyrin, who is a player who has been able last year to beat Djokovic here, who won the Canadian Open last year.
Right.
So he could be a dangerous player.
He's dangerous, and he's been what I might call him a hot shot. He likes big crowd. He likes being in that. He likes the idea of playing against the top players. So he could be a little dangerous, but I can't see. The timing was right for him to beat Djokovic, who had beaten him earlier in the year in Australia and Wimbledon, because Novak had come off the Olympic victory in Paris. He was a bit vulnerable. But right now, I don't see how he does more than take 1 set off Sinner.
Yeah, and then eventually Sinner would have to play Shapovalov, probably, who beat quite well and easily Fucsovics. And later on, either Bublik or Tommy Paul. And Draper is theoretical,
quarterfinal.
Quarters of final.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is what is the draw right now for Sinner. Why? For Alcaraz, we saw him beating Opelka,
yes,
6-4, 7-5, 6-4, but he made this break when he needed.
He did, and he didn't. He was very stubborn about holding his own serve, which he knew he had to do. It's true.
So now he has to play Bellucci, who is a compatriot of mine, who has some good wins, Medvedev, Lechka, but I don't think he can compete.
No, I don't either. I don't either.
And then Darderi, another Italian. Because we have plenty. We have 9.
I'm kind of getting tired of speaking about the Italians. Could you just get them to slow down a little bit?
Okay.
No, it is amazing, Ubaldo. You just had an explosion of Italian players.
And then this is the first U.S. Open where there are 2 Italians being seeded in the top 10. Because we have Sinner number 1 and Musetti number 10.
Yes, but
it never happened before.
Remarkable. And then even someone like Darderi, who's made quite a swift rise, he's seeded 32 in the tournament. So if he upholds the seeding, he gets to play Alcaraz. But again, I don't see it being more than possibly 4 sets.
And what about Medvedev is lost in that area by Bonzi? Yesterday we spoke a long time about Medvedev, what he did, and so on. And then there is Ruud, that nobody takes him seriously enough, but he's a player who has been twice in a final in Roland Garros and once at the US Open.
Right. But we don't know also about Davidovich Fokina might come out of that section too. He's a dangerous player. He's very fast. He's very flashy. But again, can he really stay with Carlos over best of 5 sets? No, I don't see it.
So maybe Shelton in the quarters of final is one who could beat Alcaraz.
He could, and he played a great match against him in the 4-setter at Roland Garros this year. He was very impressive on the clay. On hard courts, he would have a better chance. If he played close to the match of his career thus far, he could win. And also, it kind of reminds me a bit, we talk about how Djokovic prefers at this stage of his career, he seems to like the matchup better against Alcaraz than he does against Sinner. And I would say that's true of Shelton. Shelton has taken so many tough beatings after he beat Sinner the first time they ever played. He keeps losing to him consistently, and so I think he likes the idea of a crack at Alcaraz instead. And he played Alcaraz pretty tough at Roland Garros.
And then of course in the bottom half, the top seeded are Djokovic and Fritz.
Yes. That could be a quarterfinal.
So
and Novak has never lost to Fritz. So that should help him, I think, even as much as Fritz has improved over the last year.
So Alcaraz may have to play either Fritz or Djokovic in the semifinal, while Sinner has to play either Zverev probably or Rublev more than De Minaur or Tsitsipas. With De Minaur, there is no way that Sinner is going to lose.
But summing it all up, Ubaldo, I would say just
the best draw.
I think they're fairly equal. Maybe that Sinner's is slightly better. I don't think there's a great difference in there. What I'm saying is I don't see either one losing. I think the one scenario that could come about, but it would depend on Djokovic avoiding these nagging little injuries he gets these days and being a little depleted, is if he would beat Fritz, which I think he would, and he got really inspired to play Alcaraz again, that he could. There's a shot that he spoils this scenario and beats Alcaraz and plays Sinner in the final. But that's the only scenario I can see. Otherwise, I see them both coming through. What do you think about that?
No, I do think so too. I mean, I've been thinking this, and if Sinner would win this tournament, he would be the 7th player of the Open era to win 3 slams in 1 year. Because 3 slams in 1 year has been won by Rod Laver in '69.
Yes, right.
I'm not counting the '62 because it's not that to go back.
Don Budge in '38. Right. We'll stay with Open era.
Then after him there was Liu Holt.
Yes. Yeah.
And after
well, you're
that,
going backwards. We want to stay modern here, right?
Yeah. Okay. So modern era, open era. I'm saying Liu Holt
right.
in 56,
right.
56, but and then in open era after 69 with.
Well, Djokovic has done it a couple of times. Federer has done it.
Djokovic, Federer, and also Nadal.
And
Nadal only once.
Yeah, when that was and that was the year that he won here the first time.
Yeah.
No, 2000. Well, 2010 he got the French Open, Wimbledon, and here 3 in a row.
Okay.
2008 he lost here and he lost Australia and he won the French and Wimbledon. He only got 2. In 10 he got 3 in a row and this was the third. And he beat Djokovic here in the final.
Yeah. And then talking about records, the last one who won U.S. Open in a row consecutively twice was Federer. He won it 5.
Right.
But he won 2007 and 2008.
Those are the last 2.
And since then, nobody has been able to win twice in a row the U.S. Open.
Which is amazing when you think about it. Very surprising.
Very surprising.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyway, Ubaldo, I think we it would be a fitting end to the season. It would still be exciting if Djokovic played Sinner in the final, but probably the most fitting end of the season would be another Sinner Alcaraz match.
Yeah.
And it could be a very pivotal match in their rivalry because Sinner had ended a 5-match losing streak, as you know, against Carlos, beating him in the Wimbledon final. Then he had the misfortune in Cincinnati to be sick, so you can almost just throw that one out. They played 5 games and Sinner had to quit.
Yeah.
So I think this match has perhaps some long-term consequences, particularly if Sinner can win it.
Yeah, I am quite positive they will be here for the final of the US Open.
Who? You're quite sure?
Steve Flink and Scanagatta. Those you can it's guaranteed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that means that our viewers are going to have to listen to us again, and I hope they enjoy it.
Okay, thanks a lot to Steve Flink, my old friend, colleague, and Hall of Famer. Ciao, Steve.
Thank you, Ubaldo.